What's going on, guys? Back again here with, I guess, part two of my Star Dragon World deck. It's going to be Sideboard, and then I'm going to explain some Sideboard choices, and then maybe go over some other more optimal cards you could play if you choose. My Sideboard is kind of always changing, and I change it, each week for my locals and the metagame and stuff like that, and I kind of figure out what cards work, what cards don't work, so if you didn't check out my Star Dragon World deck, please go check it out. It's my first video. I'll try to put a link in the description somewhere. If you have, and you're back here to see the sideboard, great. Maybe you'll learn something new. Maybe some different insight from a player such as myself who's played a lot of card games can definitely clear away for some strategy that you may have not have known. So I'm going to start with my current sideboard, and then I'll talk additional cards and additional numbers. So we're going to start out with 2 copies of Barracle Barret. This is a pay 1 gauge, kill a guy with 3,000 defense or less. This card's pretty good. I like it a lot. The fact that it does cost a gauge compared to other worlds in this game, it kind of sucks, but it is still a very, very good card. I still like it. I'm only playing 2 because I am playing Full Burst in the sideboard, which kind of kills stuff anyway. So Barracle Barret. This could easily go to 3, potentially 4 copies in the sideboard. Dungeon World has been seeing a lot of play in my area, so I could easily bump that card up to upwards of 3 to 4 copies. It's also good against smaller Danger World cards, which are pretty cool. They try to slide their dudes into soul on board. You can kind of kill it before that stuff triggers, which is really cool. So that's good in a lot of various matchups. Not so good against size 3 wall decks, but those have been less and less prevalent. I'm not sure how good this card is against Brave Machine. I actually just, like I said, I just started playing the game a couple months ago, and the couple times I didn't play him, I didn't sideboard that card in. I'm not sure if it would be any good, but this is a card I'm kind of growing to like more and more as I play the game. This is Specular Ring. This is just your basic give a guy plus 3k and counterattack. This is really good if they put a lot of resources in trying to kill your Jack, or if you're walled in the middle with a Jack or a Grayson or something. This card, like I said, I'm starting to like more and more every day. This card could easily go up to 4 copies, more so than Barracle Barret. Because I sideboard 3 size 3 monsters, which you'll see in a minute, this card gets a lot better. So I think what I will do in my sideboard is maybe, I don't know, having 10 cards in sideboard is tough, so this card at 2 is probably where it'll be for a while, unless I'm like, wow, this card's insane. This is insane with my strategy. It's very good with my strategy. It's very good with one of my sideboard choices, but it could potentially go up to more copies, definitely before Barracle Barret. And then the card I kind of talked about in my deck profile, and the card I want to talk the most about, is going to be Star Guardian Jackknife Full Burst. For those of you guys who don't know what Full Burst does, he is a size 3. He is a 7/2/6. When he comes to the board, you take any card from your graveyard and put it in his soul. So any of your Dragon Arms guys, which is really cool. He is Penetrate, and he is Soul Guard, and you could pay a life to kill a guy with 5,000 power or less. So he strictly can only kill the small guys in terms of power and stuff like that. But that is still very good. Why am I experimenting with this card? Well, it just comes down to whether this card in the main board is better than Grayson. You get Penetrate, you get to kill guys, but you do lose double attack, and I feel like the way I built my deck, if you drop a size 3, having double attack is pretty important. I could be wrong. This card needs more testing. I could see this card get cut to 2 copies to match the amount of Grayson in my sideboard, and probably throw in a Barracle Barret or another Specular Ring. Or I have a pile of cards here I'm going to go through in terms of what other cards you could play that I really like. So his number could easily change. So this card is highly, experimental at the moment, just because I haven't had too much experience using it. I just got my hands on a set. So I've played in one event with this card in my sideboard at my locals. The times I did side it in, it was very, very good. I felt like if I had more experience with this card, it would have been a lot better. It's very cool because his ability is pay 1 life and it's counter, so against, like I said, there's a lot of Danger World in my local, so they link attack, you counter, pay a life, and killer dude negates their entire attack, which is pretty good. Like I said, I know this card is good. I just am kind of inexperienced with it, and like I said, I just started playing the game a few months ago, so I'm kind of inexperienced in the most optimal fashion to be using him. In a combination between mainboard and sideboard, and a combination between how many I should be playing in a kind of a deck like mine. So 3 copies in the sideboard. In an updated version, you could easily see that card be bumped down to 2 copies, or even bumped up to 4. And the last card I play in my sideboard, which could easily be cut down to 2, is Shining Rain. I really like this card. It catches people off guard. Some people don't know that our world has a card like this yet, which is cool. This is essentially your basic negation. It's a pay gauge and a life nullify spell. Why is that good? Being able to throw Legend World off guard, and when they go to play, I believe it's Symbol Guard, countering it. In Hero World and Brave Machine, them relying on their counter attack or their null guard, and you launch a giant attack at them, and then they go to counter attack you, and you just kind of say no, negate that. Kill your dude or wipe your life out, trigger, one of your guys' abilities on hit, kill their item and stuff like that. So I like this card. I want to keep it at 3 because of I like being able to control what my opponent does, and there's not a whole lot in this game of that. But then again, if it's not good at 3, and I could cut that as well as a full burst to make room for some other stuff, maybe I'll have to do that. So 3 copies of Shining Rain right now, but that could easily change. So I have a little pile of cards here that I'm going to kind of talk about that you can play, and that I personally don't play due to reasons. So Witchisker and Artilleger. These are 2 basic Dragon Arms that are in the main board at 2 copies. But can easily find their way into the sideboard according to metagame and in your local area and on a large scale as a whole. So we'll go to Artilleger. He's basically your local meta call. I probably in a competitive scene at like a regional or something wouldn't play more than 2 copies of him in the main and sideboard because there just isn't the times where it's good, but the times where then it's not good is also there too. So he's kind of a toss-up. You definitely want to pack him, especially because he's a size 0. But like that also depends on your deck too, right? If you're playing a lot of size 3s, you probably want to max him because he's the only size 0 Dragon Arms. And then this guy, Witchisker, I mean, he's probably going to go up a 3rd copy in the main board over a Divisigator, but he fits the mold of my deck very well with the 2 crit size 1. Like I said in my deck profile, and on hit you kill an item. So doing that against Hero World, kind of doing a giant link attack and just going all in against them is very good. And then since your attack is so large, and if they don't have any gate, you pop their item or their rider transform guy. So this guy, if you feel more comfortable with him in the sideboard, great. But he'll probably make his way to 3 copies in my main deck the way the metagame's going. This is so this is another guy here. He doesn't see a lot of love because he's kind of a simple card. So let me go over this guy real quick. This is Shooting Star Bell Meteor. He's a 4/2/1 size 1 with move. Why is this card cool? Well, he's not a Dragon's Arm, so he doesn't fit the mold of my specific deck very well. But if you're playing kind of like a size 3 wall thing like I used to, this card's really cool. So you could essentially drop this guy, kind of swing early game, and then he moves into the zone and he shields up an attack. That's pretty good because he's almost irrelevant on the board because you're playing a size 3 deck, so you're not going to be playing a lot of 1s anyways. I guess you will because you're cross-sizing and stuff, but that's kind of a size point. So being able to throw him away in a shield is pretty cool. This is a really cool, tricky card. I don't think he gets a lot of recognition, but I feel like if you're playing kind of a size 3 wall deck, that card's pretty good. And then cards I went over before, Baracal Baron, Specular Ring, they could just be increased in quantity. So this card's kind of cool. Demon Blaze Maxwell, he's not really prevalent, especially in the way the metagame is, but this is a card to definitely look out for, depending how the metagame shifts and depending on how your locals is. And he is probably the next best replacement for Jack if you don't have enough copies. Back when I used to do Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles, I used to kind of like to offer budget suggestions when possible. And if you are a budget player and do not have Jacks, or your meta is kind of strong in size 2, this card is really good. So this is a 2 call cost to play him. Pretty steep. But he's a 6/3 4 size 2. So he's got a big attack and even bigger crit. When he comes to the board, you nuke an opponent's size 2, and he has Soul Guard. So he doesn't get anything in Soul on summon, but you could easily cross-nize 1s into him because he's a size 2, so you could cross-nize all your 1s and 0s, make him big. He kills a size 2, so he immediately trades with your opponent when he hits the board. He also has 3 crits, so he adds pressure. So I can easily see this card making its way in the sideboard depending on the metagame, or if you're a budget player. So this card's actually pretty good. Don't sleep on Maxwell, depending on what your situation is. I want to talk about Shadow Scare, only because Joseph Grayson played him. I personally think this card is not really optimal. There's a lot of other size ones you could play that are 2 crit, 1 size, 1 defense with like 1 or 2k less power, but with an ability. So I personally don't like this card, but Joseph Grayson, he's a decent sized YouTuber, and he kind of knows what he's talking about when it comes to decks. He's been doing this for a while, definitely longer than I've had. So this is kind of like an honorable mention to him. Shadow Scare, a big vanilla for size 1s in this deck. And I guess I did this really quick, so I don't have a whole pool of cards on me. But the last one is Star Blast. This is more of a local meta call. This is 2 gauge, which is a pretty steep cost. Destroy any item or spell. So if there's a lot of stars, that they have that card that negates everything. This is good against that. This is good against Dungeon World and their set spells. This is good against decks that take a while to set up and those few control decks out there. So this card was in my sideboard when I first started playing. I quickly realized that, like, I don't need it. I don't like stars. Kind of suck, but they kind of suck for every deck. So you just have to cut your losses if you see that deck and just kind of play around it and deal with it. So guys, that is my little sideboarding video. Like I said, this is just a quick rundown of my current sideboard. This will definitely change. This actually changes weekly, depending on how I feel. So yeah. So that's it, guys. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and check out more. Check out my deck profile, and I guess next video will be another deck profile. I know I'm kind of new here, but if you guys want to choose, it's either Darkness Dragon World Death Talca or Danger World Cradle deck. So if you guys want to comment which one you guys want to see first, let me know. If not, I'll just choose one myself. And maybe I'll get a little vlog this Sunday for you guys, my locals. So that's all I got to say about that. Thanks, guys.